There are moments in life when everything familiar begins to fall apart. The roles you once lived inside no longer fit. The future you imagined feels distant or empty. And the image you held of yourself, strong, certain, grounded, starts to dissolve. Carl Jung understood this experience deeply. He saw it not as failure, but as a necessary psychological passage, a descent that precedes transformation. When your identity begins to break down, it can feel terrifying. But from a Jungian perspective, this breakdown is not a mistake. It is the beginning of something profoundly important. Jung believed the psyche is always moving toward wholeness. Even when it feels like you are falling apart, something within you is quietly reorganizing. The mind does not destroy itself without purpose. To become who you truly are, you must first lose who you thought you were. This is why hard seasons so often come with identity collapse. The structures that once supported you begin to crumble. Life removes what no longer aligns with your deeper nature, and what remains feels raw, exposed, uncertain. Jung called this the collapse of the persona. The persona is the mask we develop to survive, to be accepted, to meet expectations, to function in the world. For a time, it serves us, but eventually it becomes too small for who we are becoming. When the persona cracks, it feels like you are losing yourself. But in truth, you are losing only what is false, outdated, or incomplete. This process often begins when the gap between your outer life and your inner truth becomes too wide. You may have lived according to what was expected of you. You may have been strong when you needed rest. You may have silenced parts of yourself to stay safe or loved. Jung believed the psyche eventually rebels against this imbalance, not to punish you, but to correct the course. When the inner self is ignored for too long, life creates pressure. Relationships change, careers lose meaning, old motivations stop working, and the identity you relied on begins to fracture. This is not because you are failing. It is because something deeper is demanding your attention. During this phase, people often encounter what Jung called the shadow. The shadow contains everything we have rejected, denied, or pushed out of awareness. Unexpressed emotions, unlived desires, grief, anger, fear, tenderness. As your identity breaks down, the shadow rises to the surface. Not to destroy you, but to be integrated. This is why this phase can feel dark, confusing, and overwhelming. You may feel lost, directionless, as if you no longer recognize yourself. Jung compared this experience to entering a cave or descending into a forest. At first, there is disorientation, but this darkness is not empty. It is fertile. It holds the seeds of a new self. If you resist this phase, it becomes suffering. But if you stay present with it, if you listen instead of fleeing, something begins to shift. Slowly, clarity returns in small moments. You feel drawn toward new interests, new values, new ways of being that feel more honest, more aligned. This is the beginning of individuation. Individuation, in Jung's work, is the process of becoming whole. Not perfect, not idealized, but integrated. It is the moment when you stop living from the mask and begin living from the center of who you are. After this breakdown, you do not return to who you were before. You become someone deeper, more grounded, less dependent on approval, more connected to meaning. You may notice that what once mattered no longer holds power over you, that you feel quieter but stronger, more compassionate toward yourself, more courageous in your choices. Jung believed that every psychological breakdown carries within it the blueprint of a breakthrough. What feels like destruction is actually disclosure. What feels like loss is actually reorientation. If your identity feels like it is falling apart, it does not mean you are broken. It means you are being reshaped. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding what you never truly were. And on the other side of this process is not chaos, but coherence. Not emptiness, but depth. Not confusion, but a life that finally belongs to you. You are not breaking down. You are being broken open. And something truer is waiting to emerge.